Welcome in to Build, Grow, and Earn in 2025. You probably don't know me. My name is Shiv, but you probably do know David. David, what's going on?
So happy to be here today and so excited to be here with you, Shiv, and be able to chat through some really important things that every business should consider.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna break down today just the top strategies that you need to know in creating a system for your creator business that's going to allow you to grow an email list on how to two different ways, particularly on how to build an audience, how to then build trust within that audience by delivering value, how to then leverage the trust that you've built with your audience to monetize, and then how that kind of comes back over the top to ultimately help funnel in even more subscribers. This is a system that we're going to talk through today that I've seen some of the top creators in the world leverage to be successful. We're talking about creators like Tom Brady recently launched a newsletter and is leveraging systems like this. Andrew Huberman with his podcast. People like Tim Ferriss. People like Pat Flynn, if you all are familiar, people who have built a business, having presence online, and then just finding a way to really systematize their growth in it. We're going to break down how that works in 2025.
And who better, I got to interrupt really quick, who better than to get this presentation from Shiv and the team at Kit? Because honestly, in my opinion, out of all the tools I've used out there, when it comes to email, it is the most, and I love this phrase, it's the most surprisingly delightful software around email that I have used and tested for any of my clients, businesses, creators, anyone I've worked with. Kit has been the best experience around that. I just want to start there out of the gate. And maybe if you have never even considered doing something like this, it would be a great opportunity to see all the different things and ways you can go about email. And I'm just so excited for all the content we're about to cover right now in this session.
It's going to be good. David, I want to ask you, um, just like with your personal history of like leveraging Kit, I know that you've used it for many clients. Like, give me a little bit of that history of just your usage of Kit itself.
Yeah, as someone who has been in the agency space, worked with tons of clients and built websites and digital ecosystems for businesses from start to finish, one of the most important aspects is their email, is how they communicate with clients. And so I've used a lot of different tools. The biggest challenge I think for any business owners, I don't look for tools that have the highest level of like they can do every little thing or have a million features. I find the tools that make it the easiest to do the core features for the business owner and also for their user, their customer, their client, whoever that might be, while also offering just a great suite of different features and tools. So when it comes down to this, I've tested a bunch of things and I really have found that Kit has been a great experience in terms of I know it sounds like I'm pitching it, but I just do love it. I really do love like going into the software and using it for clients and teams, and really giving them something that they could also manage. That's another big thing here is I don't want my clients to become email marketing experts in terms of that's like their role. Their role is business owners. And so my focus is always giving them an approach, a build, automations, things that work for their business while they're asleep that help them scale, build trust, build connection with their target audience.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, I know that your audience probably already knows you, but just in case, um, you want to go ahead and take out your intro here.
Totally, totally. Yeah. So I have been building websites for over 10 years now. I built my first website with no experience. I just really wanted to help. I had gone on a mission trip to Southeast Asia to go help some kids who were orphaned during Christmas, actually. And on that trip, I fell in love with these kids. And so I came back and built a website to build sponsorship and give them an opportunity to get connected with families in America locally. And give them a better future and a better hope. In that process, that got me started in building websites, which got me started into doing a lot of advertising and different things. And then about 5 years ago, I started a YouTube channel, which is now my core focus in business, where I talk about surprisingly delightful software like Kit and get to review the best products for small business and medium-sized business owners. In my experience, I've had the opportunity to build hundreds of websites and work with thousands of clients, spoken at major events for Squarespace and other things, and really excited for what is to come. There's some cool stuff I'm working on right now, but a little bit of my experience and background.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. Did the website that you created for those kids, did it end up collecting a lot of sponsorships? Did it work?
It actually worked really well, and the hidden benefit that I didn't know would come was actually it was like a big presence on search. So
Yeah.
when different people from around the world, we had I would love to name the brand, but one of the best jewelry companies in the world in New York found the website, found did a search, found the website, and ended up sending clothes and gifts and like a lot of different things to these kids. Years later, they sent a team over there as well, which was awesome. And that was one example of a lot. We had people from Tokyo, yeah, New York. We had people from over the United States end up getting connected, sponsoring, but also being able to go there and connect with the kids as well, which it was incredible.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I love that origin story. That's so good. If you all aren't familiar with me, I my name is Shiv. I have been in this creator space, specifically the email space, for about 10 years as well. Have worked for or in almost every email tool that you can imagine under the sun. And so there's a very specific reason why I'm choosing to head up education here at Kit. And the reason is because I truly it's exactly what you said, David. I remember my first usage of Kit as a software. It had that same impression. It's surprisingly delightful. There's a host of tasks. I think there's just a host of strategies that are really core to building a great business online. And Kit makes it extremely easy to digest what those strategies are and implement them very, very easily using the software that we've created here. So I'm excited to break this all down for you all and show you why I'm here at Kit, why you should be at Kit. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to talk about a couple different pillars here. We're going to talk about growing your leads, partnering with other creators, automating your welcome sequence, monetizing your audience, and then of course, I know that you'll have some stuff for your audience as well, David, here in the link here. So feel free to go check that stuff out. But let's go ahead and dive right in here. So this is the base system that I want to use today, and I really really quickly want to talk about. Have you, David? I'm sure you are familiar with
Mhm.
like funnels and heard many businesses talk about funnels. Um, there's a very specific reason why we built this as a flywheel, a cyclical process. And you'll see this when we get through the full flywheel, but why we did this is because when you build things as a funnel, they often start at the top of funnel and end at the bottom, and that's where they complete. Somebody, a subscriber, a business process, it completes its journey at the end. What we wanted to build today is a system where when you complete the funnel, when you complete the circle, the flywheel, I should say, um, each turn of this flywheel should produce more results than the previous turn. And the effort required to turn a flywheel should become easier and easier as you go. And so we wanted to create a system here. Again, this is how the top creators are growing their businesses. We wanted to create a system here where you can grow your subscribers, right? You'll see those in these first two columns. We wanted to build trust, like I said, which we'll see within the emails that you send. We wanted to monetize. You'll see that within the different pillars of monetization we have here. And then we want to find a way. We don't want the journey to end there. We want it to tail back over to the top and find a way to even funnel the growth even faster and make it easier to find more net new subscribers. And so, again, there's a big reason why this is built as a circle. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this. But let's start with that first pillar here. Let's talk about gaining new subscribers. And from the dawn of time, when we're talking about building an audience, building an email list, it's always going to start with value. It's always going to start with value. How do I figure out for my business what is a great piece of value? What is a challenge that you have as my audience? What is a pain point that you have? And how can I create some kind of asset to help solve that challenge? That's the name of the game here. It's a great example in front of us here. This is from a creator. His name's Stu McLaren. He will teach you how to, just launch a successful membership site. He has great content, great resources to do this, and he has kind of encapsulated all that into this ultimate step-by-step guide. And so, he knows that you have very specific pain points in creating your first membership site. You have a pain point of not knowing what to charge. You have a pain point of not knowing what your ideal customer profile is. You have a pain point on not knowing what technology to use, all these different things. He creates it in a very easy to read guide to understand and help you solve those pain points very, very quickly. Now, I'm going to give a couple different examples here of a couple lead magnets, but David, I'm curious from you, like for some of your businesses that you've worked in and worked around, what are some of the lead magnets that you've come across that just really performed well for you?
Yeah, when I started creating lead magnets as a website designer and was publishing videos on YouTube, not knowing what would work and testing different things, one of the main lead magnets actually was very I didn't know would perform really well, but did, and it speaks to the point that you just said of what's the pain point for your target audience. And it was actually what questions you should ask as a website designer in your intro call.
Hmm.
This is a document that is not complicated, advanced. That I recorded a 20-minute video with just me talking through it. And then there were 13 questions basically of how I go through a flow of talking to a potential client. I was very fortunate as I was focused on website development that I had done hundreds of sales calls where I was getting a lot of leads, and I get on a phone call and literally go through the exact same flow over and over, and got to tweak and test what worked and didn't work. And so that lead magnet was basically the 13 questions that were essential for me to land great projects, understand the project, understand the scope, the budget. That was probably the biggest pain point as well, was talking about money specifically for new website designers, of how do they say they're going to charge a lot. That was a really, really potent one for me.
I think what's really interesting for people when they're first making their first lead magnet, and this is my question to you, is where do you source the inspiration from to actually understand what you need to create, what people are looking for? So for you, when
Mhm.
you came up with these questions, like how did you know that that was something that your audience wanted to hear from you?
It's funny because it wasn't so formulaic. I think sometimes I could give you a formula now of how I got there. Um, and the idea is like, what challenges did you face as you were getting started? I remember when I had my first potential call with a client, I called one of my good friends who had been freelancing. I had never freelanced before. And so I had no idea even what to do or ask or find out, or how do we approach this? What do we do next? I had no process, nothing. And I called him and we just chatted really quick. But that conversation was a pain point that I had. And he gave me some guidance and direction. And so I kind of, in that way, reverse engineered that and said, hey, what are the questions that somebody would want to ask on a call to know? Like, what info do you need initially? Can you get that information later? Are you going to start pulling assets, or is that later? Is that now? That type of thing. That
Yeah.
was the inspiration that helped me find, like, okay, these questions really help me land projects I love, and also filter out potential clients I might not want to work with. That might not be an ideal fit for me. And knowing how to ask those in an appropriate way, and going through that process, looking for quote unquote like red flags or things that I wanted to maybe avoid that didn't make sense for my ideal workflow.
Yeah, I think there's no substitute to simply just asking your audience and figuring out what their challenges are there and then representing that in your own content. I love that. I love
Yes,
that.
yes.
Well, let me just say this before I give a couple of examples of a couple different lead magnets. One really important component of delivering the lead magnet is the actual vessel of delivery. How do we actually know who to give this to and where it should go? That's what a landing page does, right? A landing page is very simply put a page where we can collect name, email address, ask additional questions, and we can describe the value of why you should get this lead magnet in this page. We can give imagery, we can talk about the description, we can give all the details to somebody. as to why you should get this lead magnet, what it's going to do for you, what impact it's going to have on you. Now, there's a couple different ways that we could approach landing pages. The ones that you see here, where you can download the free guide, click on the button, and might have a pop up of a form, or maybe you have a very minimalistic landing page. Let's look at a couple examples of both lead magnets and landing pages here. So this first one, Leisha, she's a former teacher, helps educators create classroom resources. So she's a really good example of just exactly what you said. Like, don't overcomplicate what your lead magnet is. You just need to create something of value to help solve something very specific. And so oftentimes she found that in second and third grade classrooms, which is her audience is teachers who teach in those grade ranges, she found that there were like the teachers would just not have the right passages and homework assignments for their classroom. And so she created this really great free passages activities for second and third graders. And then you can see that it's pretty simplistic in the and straightforward already in the imagery that she had for her lead magnet. So the landing page, she has pretty minimalistic copy, right? Pretty easy to understand what this is. She also has a little bit of a warmer audience that is coming to this page, meaning that she's already kind of educated them through her blog on why her resources are valuable, why you should trust her. So by the time that you land on this page, you have a pretty clear idea of what you're about to download. Another great example here is Madison here. She focuses on helping food bloggers improve their websites. And so she has a kind of this DIY website audit that creators can use to strengthen their online presence. And the audit has like some pretty practical steps to help figure out if your website isn't a place where it can be launched, if it's ready to go, if there's elements of your food blog website that could use improvement. And so she walks through the structure that she has, where you kind of go through and check box and see which sections that you have and don't have. And then ultimately you get a score to say, hey, these are the places that you can improve. These are the places that you're doing a great job. So checklists can be really great. Like we talked about, worksheets can be really great for different audiences. Sister, she this is like the most meta one I have here. This is an ebook template to help you create an ebook. Just the most meta, which I love. But just another great example of like you can create a guide of some sort, or a template that could help walk through somebody through something. Or if you're more on the like, I like to say like there's two different types of creator businesses. You're either educating or you're entertaining. And so if you're on the entertaining side, you're not teaching somebody how to do something, but you're creating content to entertain somebody. Sometimes it's not always super obvious. What is the downloadable? What's the free guide that I create when I'm not teaching somebody something? What's the free workshop, the free course that I create? Well, what this artist did, she paints and has different digital art. She just created a way for her to distribute one of her pieces for free. She said, hey, I have a big fan base of people that are checking out my Instagram page, my TikTok, and you want to get some of my art for free? No worries. Go to the link in my bio and you can download one of my pieces for free, and high res image. You can print it out. You can go ahead and dish it out. I think she even includes like some language here on like how she suggests that you print this to make it the best quality for you. But it's all that to say that there's so many different creative ways that we can go ahead and give something of value. What value means, it really hyper depends on what your business is. So whether again you're on the education side or you're on the entertainment side, you can find something of value to give to your audience for free, and in exchange collect their email address and some contact information.
Could I say something too to
Yeah.
that point? I think this is just so good. I want to, for any business owner, creator, or person who doesn't think they're a creator but is kind of playing with this a little bit, is there's a few things that Shiv is talking about right now that are so valuable. Is you probably already have people going to your business might not be where you want it to be, or the size of your audience might not be where you want it to be, but this is the way of building it, is this lead magnet and a landing page, because you have visitors come every day, whether it's 3 or 300 or 3,000 every day. You have people coming to explore what you offer, and finding one of these pain points, whether it's as simple as just a list of questions or a checklist or a template for an ebook. I think this is an area that often gets overlooked, that any business I talk to that I am going to give recommendations to, or we're going to consult, this is one of the first things I look at is what type of workflows and automations do you have set up with these initial steps? How can I get into your email list or into your funnel, to use in a different context here? How do I get into your workflow that allows what you're already doing each day to benefit more and build more kind of a robust system that's working for you while you may be doing other things?
Well, can I give you a hot take, David, on that
Yes,
first one? You
please,
said,
please.
you mentioned like for businesses that don't view themselves as creators or creator businesses, my hot take is that every business moving forward is either already or going to become a creator business. It doesn't
I'm with
matter,
you. Yes.
right? Like if you're the brick and mortar dog grooming business in your local community, you're going to need to create content. You're going to need to create authority online. You're going to need to create trust within your community to say that you are the best dog groomer for them. And how are you going to do that? You're going to go out and you're going to create content. You're going to create guides. You're going to create lead magnets. You're going to host workshops. You're going to create content on YouTube and on Instagram, and you're going to create newsletters, and you're going to showcase your expertise as a dog groomer to say, hey, if you have this type of dog, this is what I would suggest that you do. Hey, you want to use this, I don't have a dog, so I'm really just going off the
Yeah.
cuff here, but you use this temperature water. This is the right shampoo to use. You're going to showcase
Yeah.
your expertise through all this content. And that's how people are going to say, wow, I really need to go down the block and use that dog groomer versus any other one because I have trust in what you're doing.
That's so good. I 100% back that. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so for those people, especially, but any business, here's my tip for you on if you're like scratching your head and you're like, hey, where should I even start with the lead magnets? You probably already have it existing. I promise you, you probably already, especially if you're a content-based business, you probably already have existing content that you have in your blog, that you have in a YouTube video, in a podcast episode, in Instagram or TikTok, a video you created, you probably have some really good piece of content, especially again, if you're an education based business, meaning that you're teaching somebody how to do something, you can repurpose some of that education and create it into a lead magnet. You can take that really good high performing blog article that teaches people how to, start a podcast where it showcases like the best gear to buy and say, hey, let me actually just like package this into this really easy to read guide and then put it behind a form collection of landing, name and email and say, hey, here's my 3 must have pieces of equipment when starting your podcast. That's your lead magnet that you already created in the guide. Or again, you saw that other artist here who went the Art of Crystal, who said, hey, I have this really, really great digital piece of art that I've created. Let me give this away for free. Let me make that my lead magnet. Promise you, it probably already exists for your business. Let's dive in here and just show you really quick. I know like part of again what can be so intimidating with a software is, oh my goodness, I don't want to learn a whole new set of tools. I don't want to dive in here and jump in. Let me show you how incredibly easy it can be. So inside a kit, we have a couple different sections, aptly named. If you want to grow your subscriber base, you want to send them things like emails. If you want to automate the sending of those emails, or if you want to earn money and how we can go ahead and help you do that. So in this section, I'm going under grow and I'm going under landing pages and forms because again, that's helping us grow our subscriber base. And when we go there, we can navigate over to this place where we can ultimately choose what our template's going to be for our landing page. And so there's a couple different ones here. You can choose any template that you want and have it aligned to whatever the lead magnet is that you're going to give out. So just as a couple of examples here, if you're giving out a guide, we have a couple here. That's not even to say necessarily that like each one that we have here, each template, like is only being able to be used by a guide. It just means that the design in our eyes here at Kit, we've seen a lot of guides use these type of landing pages versus we've seen people who are giving out webinars use these type of landing pages. But you feel free to use any design that makes the most sense for you, that speaks to you, and then go ahead and customize it from there. So once you go ahead and do figure out, hey, I'm doing an event or a podcast, pick the one that aligns to you. And I cannot tell you how easy it is to go ahead and start to personalize what the copy is here, add in different elements if you want it to be like a bullet point, or if you want to change out the background, all those kind of things. We won't get too far into the weeds today. We have lots of tutorials for you to check out. And I know David has lots of expertise in this as well.
And I'll say this too. Yeah, I have a few videos already on my channel that walk you through some of this to get started, to set that up, to make sure you get tags set up properly. Some other stuff we'll probably touch on in this session today. And I also do have what I call my starter kit, which I'm doing this live right now. So down below, there'll be a link for that. And it's already inexpensive for what's inside, but I'll do it 50% off for this video only.
Right
So
on.
all my other videos are just going to be regular, but this video, you'll have the click on the link there and you'll be able to access that and really get started with Kit in a very powerful way quickly, with some guides along the way.
We'd love to see it. Can I give one kind of tactical tip while we're in here? I
love it. Yes.
do like, I just, it's itching for me. I really want to say it. One thing I just want to say to everybody. So there's this thing in email that's essentially when you collect an email subscriber, we want to confirm that email subscriber wants to be on your list. If you look at a lot of email tools, they'll call that a double opt-in. It's essentially sending the subscriber that just typed in their name and email address and hit submit. It's giving them an email that says, hey, just want to make sure that you want to get these emails. There's a lot of good reasons to do that, because you want to have an engaged group of people on your list. You want to protect your ability to get your email into people's inbox rather than their spam folder. Now at Kit, we do something interesting. We actually combine we instead of calling it a double opt-in email, we call it an incentive email. And the reason we do that is because we combine the delivery of your lead magnet alongside the confirmation of their email. It's this really cool way where you can go ahead and edit the email here. If you go over to the settings that I just went to, and we can actually change any of the elements of like what this email looks like, having it be very warm and come from your tone, the imagery, the branding. I think this is really, really cool. And then of course, in this button, when they click it, then we can say like, okay, here's the file that they download, and you can attach the guide from there. I think this is just something I wanted to call out, because this alone is something that can help increase the rate of people getting onto your list. Confirmed subscribers, people who genuinely want to be on your list, getting on your list. And then it also just increases the rate of people actually viewing and consuming the lead magnet that you so thoughtfully created for them. And so again, just as far as like some unique things on how we work email and how we think about things, it's just a quick tip that I would suggest to you if you do go in and build that through Kit.
I love the quick tip, Shiv. You got any more of those, bring it, because that is a huge one. And I love, again, even the surprisingly delightful way that Kit does that. It's way easier, way better, and it's automated. It's like you don't have to think about some fancy formula to figure out how to get people to click on this confirmation and then get the incentive or the final like deliverable. It just simplifies it for you. You see it all there within that landing page builder in the settings. It's so easy. And that is huge without getting too technical with deliverability. Everything else Shiv was describing, it just makes the email process so much better to make sure emails actually end up in people's inbox. It's incredible. I love it.
Awesome. I love to see it. So let's talk about, we talked about this, this bucket of, collecting subscribers, creating them from your organic content, and going out and creating landing pages, creating forms, delivering value. Let's talk about another format of collecting new subscribers through the power of partnerships, with the power of working with other creators. This is a bucket, David, that like, if you had asked me again, I've been in the email game for about 10 years. So if you had asked me 10 years ago, hey, Shiv, how important is it to work with other creators, other businesses to grow your list? I would have said that it's nice to have, it can be great, But that's how I would have labeled it, as a nice to have. I think in 2025 and beyond, this is the number one growth lever that I'm seeing for different businesses. The ability to partner with an entirely new person, entirely new creator, and get in front of their audience and say, hey, here's something of value that might help you. Hey, I might be able to be content that you want to follow, and you do that for businesses. They might be able to do it for you. There's second to none, no better way to approach growing a business. But the thing is, when it comes to partnerships, people view them in pretty specific buckets. Um, they're, the most famous one I feel like people will think of is being a guest on somebody's podcast, right? Oh, let me be a guest on somebody's podcast. Really powerful. You should absolutely do it. Maybe co-writing a blog article, maybe showing up on different people's YouTube videos. All of these are absolutely partnership styles that you should engage with that will help your business. That I'm all for. But with that said, we wanted to think about here at Kit. Those all are, I would call them, they're not flywheels. They're not working for you, and making it easier and turning faster and faster every time you engage with those activities. Right? It's quite an ordeal to think about what is the topic that I'm going to be thinking about for this latest podcast episode. When I go show up on a guest, let me do my research. Let me then film it. Let me edit it. Let me put it out. And then let me promote it. We wanted to think of a productized way, a more flywheel approach to partnerships. And what we came up with here at Kit is called the Creator Network. We also call it recommendations. Essentially, the way it works is that we have this massive marketplace at Kit of thousands and thousands of different creators. And what you can do is you can search through, you can scroll through all those creators, and you can say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recommend to my audience, I'm going to recommend that they follow this creator. I'm going to select maybe a couple of them, and I'm going to tell my audiences, hey, if you love me, you love my content, here are some other newsletters, here are some other creators that you're absolutely going to love as well. I can do that for other creators, and other creators can do that for me. It's this cyclical approach that, the high tide raises all ships. And I promise you, I'm seeing some of the largest creators here, actually creators of all sizes, but I'm seeing creators become large creators by building these really succinct pods, by finding like 3 or 4 creators that they're like, we should all recommend each other. We're all going to grow together. And I'm seeing it work really, really well across multiple industries. I want to get your sense here, David, like for your business and the businesses that you've worked with, how have you valued partnerships, and how have you seen that play a role in the growth of your business?
I mean, I would approach this question with a different word. I think the partnership side is with visibility, and not that there's like a priority here. It's like as much as you can grow your visibility across, whether it's search engine optimization, optimizing for LLMs, optimizing for YouTube search, optimizing for any type of visibility that gets you out there. That's why guest blog posts were so popular back in the day, or guest
Yeah.
podcasts are now so popular, because now you are getting visibility in front of new audiences that you might not have had before. So in terms of partnerships, yes, hands down, this is something that I wanted to use a lot more with Kit that I haven't leveraged at the full extent. So I'm really excited that we're talking about this.
Yeah. Here, let me show you an example. This is Ann Lore. She's got this awesome book. She's a Kit customer here. So she has grown, I want to say, almost about half her list is being driven from recommendations from her usage
Wow.
of the Creator Network. Yeah, incredibly powerful tool here. And like, let me just like go off on a side tangent here. Something really interesting about Ann Lore. She has this awesome book that she launched, and she was telling us in Europe, that the typical amount for the typical book launch amount that you get in advance when you get a book deal is at a certain rate. And today in the age, when you go try to get a book deal, like you bringing your own ability to market and sell your book is an extremely, extremely attractive premise to most publishers that would want to give you a book deal. And so just the fact that Anne Lore has 100,000 people on her email list and could say, hey, I'm going to push the book to these 100,000 people, that was enough where she was getting, I think, around 10x the amount, the average amount for in advance for her offer for getting published in Europe than the average European. And so that and then we like keep going back in order here. We keep pulling back the thread here, and we see that half her list was coming from the creator network, from recommendations. These are subscribers that she didn't create a lead magnet and a landing page and went out to go ahead and do all those things. You should do that. It's very important to establish authority. But these are subscribers that were coming onto our list in her sleep because of the right people that she partnered with.
And can I tell you this?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry to interrupt. Tiny Experiments, her book, I purchased through her email. This was not planned. I just
No
I'm part
way.
of her email list. I'm on it. Yeah. So Tiny Experiments I bought. And the cool part about, I don't know, and this might just be my bias, but with anybody I've followed who has a kit newsletter, I respond back to emails at times. And I responded
Yeah.
back to her when she sent the book and like she had done the talk too. And I was like, this is perfect timing. Thank you. And she responded back like right away. So it's
That's
so
awesome.
cool. And it was all through this, which is really like serendipitous.
That's so cool. Well, and that's the other thing that like email creates such a good one-to-one connection with your audience, regardless of where they came from here. Um, one thing that I want to mention about Anne Lore that I really love about her recommendation strategy, because the tooling is quite simple of like, hey, here's a marketplace of people. You can click a button, and essentially, again, you're telling your audience, hey, here's somebody that I recommend that you follow. And so the tooling is quite simple. The strategy becomes, who should I recommend? Who are the right groupings of people and who are the right pods to recommend? I think something interesting that I hear from people when I first tell them about the creator network, I first tell them about the power of recommendations. The thing that they tell me back is, well, Shiv, I don't want to recommend my competitors, right? Like I don't want to work with people who are directly in the same industry because that's taking business away from me. And I understand on some level where you're coming from in that, but I also think that um, there's just an element of, if you can view the pool as an ocean and say that there's enough to go around for all of us, number one, and number two, have a mindset of collaboration rather than competition. I think that's what made Anne Lore so successful here. Like all of these people fall under some level of similar content to what Anne Lore is doing, but it wasn't a winner take all mentality for Anne. It was, hey, we're going to promote each other and we're going to grow together. And that's again what made Anne create such a large email list from recommendations and ultimately what helped sell the book here. And so I would go ahead and just caution against um, I would caution against like pigeonholing yourself um to not using recommendations and not supporting others because you're worried about like protecting your own list versus somebody else's list. I would encourage collaboration and show you that that's going to help you grow a lot more and a lot faster. Here's a little another fun like tip that I have for you. This is my bonus. We need to think of like a segment name for this, like bonus tech tip or something like that. Um, One fun thing that you can do inside a kit is there, and we'll talk about this when we talk about emails, but personalization is such an important pillar of what you do in any stage of marketing, especially in your emails. The whole goal of any email marketing system that you use is to be sending the right message at the right time to the right person. We always want it to be contextual, coming from like a friend. We don't want to just put forth a piece of content, press the send button, and it goes to everybody regardless. We want to be creating content that's timely for very specific groups of people because we know that they have very specific challenges. And so, in that conversation of personalization, something like what does that mean, Shiv? What does personalization mean? Something as simple as in this email that people get, that these people will get this specific email if you came from recommendations. specifically if you came from recommendations. Because think about the journey, right? If you came from Anne's blog, and then from her blog, you clicked on a link to go ahead and get one of her lead magnets. And then you got the lead magnet and you got to consume the lead magnet. And then after that, you got your first email that says, "Hey, welcome to Nest Labs, my newsletter. Here's what I'm all about." You're like, "Hey, I actually have a little bit of a warm introduction to you because I read the blog. I got the lead magnet. I read it. That's great." These people don't have that. These people were part of somebody else's newsletter. In that newsletter, they said, hey, if you love me, you should definitely follow Anne as well. They clicked that button and subscribed to Anne's newsletter. And this is then the first email that those specific people should get. And in this, we have this ability to go ahead and personalize even the person that it came from, because you can recommend however many people that you want. So if you're recommending 5 people, knowing that, hey, thank you so much. You got this email because you were being recommended by David, by Shiv, by Joe. Just small pieces of personalization like that can go a long, long way in building a great relationship, and just having people say, "Oh yeah, that's where I got this from." Like, you never want the experience in email that says, why am I getting this? Where is this coming from? So this helps kind of combat that there. Let's go ahead and just dive in. Let me show you all where this lives. So if you go to grow and then recommendations, this is going to be where you can see that massive marketplace of thousands and thousands of different creators. And you can scroll through and find the creators that make the most sense for you. We try to do our best to make it as easy as possible to find exactly who you're looking for, because we know it's a big marketplace. And so, for example, a couple of things that we do at the bottom here, we'll show you instantly creators with content that's similar than yours. So we'll go through and understand what kind of content you're sending out, and then give you some suggested creators that you could recommend from there. We'll show you shared connections. And so these are connections that you'll be able to go ahead and check out here. We'll even show you creators that subscribe to your newsletter, that are on your list, that are also in the network, that you can poke through as well. So a lot of different ways to filter through here. And then you'll notice that some of these creators have these red circles, some of them have these blue circles hovering around them. If you see the blue circle, that means that is a creator that's growth rate is in the top 10% of their size in the last 30 days. So of creators that are of their subscriber count, these are the top 10% in terms of how fast they've been growing. If you see people with a red banner, that means that they have sent at least 1 email per month in the past 3 months. And if you see somebody with both, of course, that means they're both. And so it's a great way to start to really dissect, like, who are the best creators, who are the people that I want to recommend, all those kind of things. One other thing I'll say is just at the top here, like, I get a lot of people saying like, okay, so Shiv, how do I find exactly who I'm looking for? I had this one creator, I got to tell the story. I had this one creator, he bakes sourdough bread and sends a newsletter about it. I love it. Followed the newsletter like a couple of years ago when I was like in going on my sourdough bread journey, as all of us were in the pandemic. And he was like, "Hey Shiv, I wanted to like say, there's some really good filters here to filter down creators." And I clicked chef, but I couldn't help but notice that there's not a sourdough bread option. There's not a bread option in creator type. I'm like, you're right. There's not a bread option under this drop down. But one thing you can do is you can use this keyword search and search what you want to do here. And so if we search for bread, you'll see like what as we go down, there's not just only bread options, but there's actually a ton of like, I spelled that wrong. There's a ton of sourdough bread options specifically, which is wild. I love how many sourdough bread newsletters there are on Kit. But if you go through, you'll be able to really filter down and find the exact creators that you're looking for, number one. And then number two, once you go through and find some of these creators, you can actually go ahead and click on what's called their creator profile. And so if you click on these 3 dots and say view profile, we have an entire feature set in Kit where you can read past issues of somebody's newsletter, where you can see again what they've built as a quick bio of what matters to them. They can showcase the products that they sell and the links that are important to them. And you can use this as a way to understand, okay, is this a creator that my audience would love to hear from, that if I gave a warm, genuine recommendation, this is somebody that they would find value from? If the answer is yes, then I can go through and easily click the recommend button here. Yeah, I think that this is a feature set that everybody needs to be using if you're growing a creator business. It's second to none, I think, in building a list.
Yeah, I love it. I just want to make one comment on that. I think you just showed it right now. Is that like, again, you don't need to be specifically like a productivity hack guru to have a newsletter. This is where this crosses all categories, all businesses. Whether you do cookies out of like a small kitchen in your local area, and you start with family and friends, and now you're building that out. Newsletter can be great. Uh, if you're doing sourdough bread, newsletter could be. There's no category, I think, that falls outside of the bounds of this, that allows. And then again, the visibility, I also, you could say, discoverability of now you're being recommended, or other people could recommend you. Somebody with a large audience can see what you're doing, value it, and be able to say, I really want to recommend Shiv to my audience. I think there's a lot of value here that can be brought out to my audience that they'll like as well.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and we talked about again gaining new subscribers through what you're doing with your content, lead magnets, your landing pages. Talked about building an audience through recommendations and partnering with other creators. Let's talk about building trust. We built the audience. Now, how do we build trust? And the best way to do that, if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, right? Like, and I bump into somebody, on the street, or meet them at an event, the first impression that they give me matters. It's incredibly important in my impression of you as a person, to nail what people see you as the first time they see you. There's no different psychology when you're talking about business. The first impression matters. And so there's a ton of different places I could take this on, where you can build trust via your emails. We could talk about newsletter, which is incredibly important as well. We could talk about like sales sequences and all these things. But what I want to nail down and really have you, if I have one step for you to really focus on, it's to nail your welcome sequence. It's to nail your welcome sequence. It's the sequence of emails where you're going to write it once, and then it'll set it and forget it. It'll automatically be dished out to anybody who's just jumping onto your list. Of course, right message, right time, right person still matters. So again, what's cool is that if David subscribes tomorrow, then he's going to start getting those emails tomorrow. If I subscribed last week, I'm going to get those emails timed to last week. This is an automation. So we're writing these emails, and then based upon when you get onto my list, that's when you're going to get these set of 3, 4, 5 emails to welcome you into the experience that I've created. So the thing that's incredible here is that the average click-through rate via email is typically in the 1 to 3% range, which is still, can get you a lot of different engagement across what you're doing. We were seeing in one of our creators, the response rate, her call to action at the beginning of her welcome sequence was to reply back to her email. She was getting 25% of people replying back to her email. And again, that's specifically related back to the fact that this was coming from her welcome emails. Another stat I can give you is that the average open rate across all kit customers is typically hovering around the 40 to 43% range. But we've seen creators as high as 91% for their open rates when we're talking about their welcome sequence. And so the lesson here is that it's all about striking the iron while it's hot. When somebody, like, I like to use this term, marketing real estate, like digital marketing real estate. When somebody has incredible interest in hearing from you, you've piqued their interest, and they have trust in you, and they want to hear from you. You want to capitalize on the fact that they want to hear from you, deliver what they're asking from you. And so when somebody just downloaded the lead magnet and pressed the submit button, that means that they're interested in hearing from you. They have a problem, and they see you as somebody that has the solution to their problem. And so what better timing to send them their emails than immediately? Make sure you create a special experience for those people to say, welcome in, and here's some value for you. And so let's talk about that in what that value should look like. These are I'm going to actually give you all just a couple templates. This is not like the end all be all. You must create your welcome sequence this way. But this is just, if you never created a welcome sequence, here's a couple places that you can start from. So in the first email that you sent, and let me just say this again, when I said a welcome sequence, what I'm talking about is sending out emails, multiple emails over the course of multiple days. Now, you could send out 2 emails over the course of 3 days. You could send out 4 emails over the course of 5 days. We'll actually talk about timing in a second, but just keep that in mind. In the example I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to talk about 3 emails that you can send over the course of some time. And so in email number 1, it's all about creating, giving the explanation of who you are and who you're not for. David talked about that a little bit earlier in the lead magnet, us making sure that we can say, here's who I am and why I started XYZ newsletter, XYZ company. It has a special place in my heart because of my backstory. And then make sure that you understand and have a very clear statement that says what you're going to deliver for people, right? So again, in this example, this business is introducing you to their newsletter in this welcome sequence. You don't have to be introducing them to your newsletter necessarily, but here they say, with this newsletter, I want to help you describe the outcome that you're going to give them. With every Monday, every weekly newsletter that I send on Mondays, I will send you this type of content to help you understand how to do this. So I might say something like, with this newsletter, I want to help you take your beginner photographer business and turn it into a professional photography business. I do this by sending you every single first Monday of the week. I will send you the 3 biggest mistakes, the 3 mistakes I made as a photographer, and how you can correct them for your beginner photography business, right? Something along those lines where it's very clear on what I'm trying to make you become, because every business is trying to get you to go from point A to point B, take you across a journey. And so for me, I'm trying to get beginner photographers to become professional photographers. And then I'll talk about how I'm going to do that. What's the way, what's the content, what can you expect from me to make that happen? So let's give the backstory, let's set expectations. And then last but not least, let's engage your audience somehow. So one way that you can do that, and again, without getting too technical, this also helps what we were talking about earlier with getting your email into the inbox and deliverability. The way that I did it here, hey, why do you reply? Why did you subscribe to my newsletter? What are you hoping to learn? Why don't you hit the reply button and reply back to me with this email? Why don't you go ahead and reply back to me? I read every email. I can't wait to hear from you. It's just creating this instant engagement with your audience. The other thing I really love about the reply back to me and this email call to action at the very beginning of your welcome, like in one of your welcome sequence emails, is that if you have a relationship-based business, if you're somebody out there who has a relationship-based business, meaning that you need to establish a one-on-one relationship with somebody in order to sell them because you have a one-on-one coaching business, or you have some kind of service that requires you to have, again, speak to somebody individually to sell to them, what better way to start the relationship than asking them to reply to this email? You're instantly starting that connection and starting that conversation. David, before I go to email number 2 and 3, have you, for the welcome sequences that you've seen, have you seen elements of this that I have in the first email, in the welcome sequences that you've built or that you've seen in different businesses?
And it changes it because people's buy-in as well. If I sign up to a newsletter, and I don't engage with it ever, over time, it's really easy to just kind of let that dwindle off, or you just don't engage with it at all and potentially unsubscribe, all of that. But if you reply and you start a conversation and that person or company gets back to you, it's a whole different relationship. It is
Yeah.
at that point, it's more of a relationship than it is a marketing push. It is now a relationship and engagement. I could actually, trying to think off the top of my head, any company or creator who's reached out to me and they've asked the question and I've replied to, I've ended up staying on their list. I don't know if I ever have unsubscribed from somebody I engaged with that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, creating the connection is key to doing that. So I love that. Let me go to email number 2 here. This one I like to call the greatest hits email. Greatest hits email. So the greatest hits email. one of the pillars of what you're going to notice, I'm going to sound like a broken record player, but one of the pillars of your welcome sequence, your lead magnets, like we talked about, your entire business is constantly providing value. How do we constantly provide value so people always view us as a valuable business? That they know that, hey, when I get an email from these people, when I get any piece of content from them, when I read a blog article, when I go to their YouTube page, when I engage in one of their events, I know it's going to be gold. How do we elicit that response? It's by always giving, giving, and giving. And so in email number 2, that's what we're going to do. We're going to give. We're going to give value. And so the reason I call it the greatest hits is because the way that I have this worded, hey, I'm in your inbox with some of the most impactful pieces that I've made over the years. Here's link number 1 to your blog post or podcast episode, link number 2, link number 3, and a sentence description. Here's the best content that I have that I think will hopefully help you solve whatever challenge that you have. Now, I've put this forward as a general template and a general way for you to get started because I want you to walk before you run. But even I will say the real way to do this, if you want to take this to like 2.0 level, is based on which lead magnet that they downloaded. If they downloaded, like, again, for the beginner photographer business, if there's a lead magnet that's all about, like how to use your gear, and that's people's challenge because they got the lead magnet. I know their problem is like, they just don't know how to use the gear. They need technical training versus I have like a whole nother lead magnet that's about how to price your services and like how to like list yourself on like Wedding Wire and all these different, wedding photography sites, and you don't know how to do that stuff. Well, then those are 2 different challenges. And I know based on which place you came from, which challenge you have, I could actually dynamically change what you would see in this email. I could change the links that you would get. The greatest hits email looks very different for the pricing challenge greatest hits versus the say the how to use your gear greatest hits. And those links could change out depending on who you are. And so if you don't know, and again, if you're just building this for the first time, I would say just list out the 3 blog articles or the 3 podcast episodes that you find to be really, really valuable, 3 pieces of content, and give them out, make sure that they see them. But if you want to get even better and more tailored with this, then you can go ahead and get real specific based on people's outcomes and challenges that they have. The last thing I'll say here is, again, in the wording here, like my goal is to help you achieve insert goal here, and this links will give you a head start. We're always thinking about the outcome that we're trying to drive for people. We're always thinking of where they are in point A right now and where we want to deliver them in point B. Last sequence here, at the very end here. I love. I'm somebody who loves surprises personally. It's like I'm somebody who like told my friends, I'm like, you need to throw me a surprise birthday at some point in my life because I love surprises that much. So maybe I'm a little weird in that way. But this is like a surprise and delight is something that anybody appreciates. And so this is the last email that I see really do successful for people is surprising and delighting with some kind of resource. Always thinking of value, of course, up front, but giving some kind of resource that says, hey, to wrap up this introduction to, hey, my newsletter or to my content, I wanted to share something special with you. Here is a unique resource, whether that be PDF, workbook, video guide. Think of it as a lead magnet, but specifically tailored for your existing audience to deepen trust and deepen their viewpoint of you being a trusted source to solve their problems. So we're going to deliver that. And then again, call to action that can change out. We'll talk about a couple calls to action here. The examples I gave here is to follow you across different content mediums. But this could also be a place where you start to promote your product. This could also be a place where you start to promote your podcast because you're prioritizing podcast downloads right now. This could be a place where you're pushing your blog, right? There's so many different ways to go about, promoting your welcome sequence, and what the action you want people to do afterwards is. It all depends on the journey that you want to take people David, how does this compare,
Mhm.
the sequence that I just showed? How does that compare to some of the welcome sequences again that you set up and created?
This is really good. I love this, and you're such a great educator, teacher. As
Thanks.
we're discussing this, I'm loving it. It's even giving me so many insights and ideas to think about for my clients. I think, like you said, the welcome emails sequence is one of the most important. You said it once, you don't have to ever worry about it's built, it's good to go, it's always running in the background. I love what you put out as the 3 emails. They're so simple, straightforward, and a great way to get started and have that built and build trust. Because at the end of the day, I think the trust factor is one of the core components that as you develop new tools, resources, offering services, whatever it may be, courses, digital downloads, things that you will be providing and pitching. This kind of relationship that you're building with your audience is building so much trust. I love that third email, the surprise. Those are great. That I love, and I know that when I've experienced that email, it has been something that it is a surprise and it's delightful. It is one of those things that does hit home for me where I'm like, yeah, I love that now. And now I'm even more engaged. So now I've replied to you. I've gotten an extra like gift in the process, plus a list of resources to check out that are relevant to me. That is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Super, super easy, and will build trust immediately. Just a couple quick best practices for me to run through for you all. Just make sure you're like thinking about keeping that experience consistent. So what I mean by that is this is like that 2.0 that I was talking about, where like um, if somebody comes in through the like if you're a food blogger and somebody comes in through the slow cooker recipes guide that is your lead magnet, well then you can tailor that welcome sequence specifically to slow cooker recipes, and you can go through that process down the welcome sequence. I think again that's a great way to take this to the next level and keep a very consistent experience from top to bottom. Number two, again, broker record player. I know, but I cannot emphasize this enough. Yes, you can go ahead and reference your products. You can reference your services. You can reference what you do that makes you money in your welcome sequence. But we need to do it in a way that showcases value, not necessarily leads with promotion. Less promotion, more value. What does this mean in practice? I would look at this one creator, Ali Abdal. If you all aren't familiar, he's this awesome creator, um, doctor turned YouTuber, and talks about productivity, talks about how to become a creator. And he, in his welcome sequence, he like will constantly reference, he has this course called the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. And so if you go down the track where specifically you're like learning to become a creator, and that's his ultimate sell for you is his part-time YouTuber Academy that he wants you to buy, he will reference a lot of the videos for free inside of like the greatest hits, his version of the greatest hits automation and his version of like providing value across those like 4 or 5 emails that he sends. He's constantly pulling in lessons from the part-time YouTuber Academy. And he'll say, hey, like one of the things I teach in the part-time YouTuber Academy is XYZ lesson. Let me tell you all about it right now. And he will give you a really good nugget across 5 emails. He'll give you like 5 or 6 great nuggets. And you will come across at the end of that being like, wow, I really genuinely feel like after reading these 4 or 5 emails that I've leveled up my understanding of YouTube and how to use it and being a creator. And where did that come from? What was the source? He constantly said, hey, as part of the part-time YouTuber Academy, as part of the part-time YouTuber Academy. So when you get to that last email, and he does in the last email say, hey, if you do want to go ahead and take the full course, here's where it's at. And he tells you, hey, you probably have only covered like 5% of what I have to offer here and what I talked about in the last couple of emails. You're like, great, give me the other 95. I'm ready to go ahead and buy this. But that only worked because he led with value in the first 5, 6 emails there. Personalize. This is where, like, if they're coming from the creator network, insert creator network referee here. Like if if you know their name, if you collected that in a form, insert their name here. If you want my 2.0 advice from this, That's like the 1.0, like take the name, take what you've learned about them in a form and insert that messaging into the email. If you want the 2.0 version of this, you can actually within an email, you can in a singular email change out what people see in a singular email. So like you don't need to create like 4 or 5 emails in one email. You might say like for Ali Abdal again, he has two audiences: people who want to learn how to become more productive, and people who and those are like, he has this book, Feel Good Productivity. And you might be like anybody, like your business, or you might be like an employee. You might make your money in any way, but you're just trying to learn how to be more productive as a human. And then he has an entire side of his business where he's teaching you how to become a creator, because you are a creator. That's your business. You're trying to learn how to create a creator business. And so he can actually understand, based on if you like set in a poll that you want to build a creator business versus you're just here to try to learn how to be productive. He might have the same base email. He has this one email where he talks about like how to set goals and how to create a goal framework. And so that lesson is, everybody sees it. But then at the very top, he like contextualizes the story of like the goals framework, depending on if you are here to learn about how to become a creator or if you're here to learn how to become more productive. And so there's this paragraph at the top that just has like two different versions, and the right version gets shown to the right person. And then there's a third option, like if he doesn't know who you are yet, like if you are creator, if you are productivity, or if he doesn't know yet, you're going to get one of these blocks of text, and then the rest of the email is the goals framework. And it's such a good way to approach that, because you can really make this be seen to specific people. Remember, right message, right time, right person. So we want to have the right message for everybody. 4, I know one of the number one questions that people are going to have is, how many emails should I send? And when should I send those emails? Immediately. Immediately. Strike the iron while it's hot. Send the welcome emails as soon as somebody's indicated to you that they're interested. Number 5, again, this is addressing the like how long. There's no perfect science on this, but just like if you want a base place to start, try some of these. Try maybe like 3 emails over 5 days. Try 3 emails over 3 days. I try 4 emails over a week, or 5 emails over 5 days, one every day. I try one of those 4 options. There's some people who like get a little bit in their head about like, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to email people too much. If you're providing value, you're not being annoying. And so write as many emails as you feel like you are providing value in your welcome sequence. If you feel like you're starting to lean into like writing fluff and it's not providing genuine value, then I think you found your limit. I think you found where you need to stop how many emails you have in your welcome sequence. And the last thing is end with a clear call to action. Every email that you send, regardless if it's your newsletter, it's your welcome sequence, should have some kind of goal that you want people to take, whether that's to reply to your email, follow you on Instagram or YouTube, go watch this podcast episode, or this YouTube video, read this blog post, or if it's buy my product, buy my service. And here's where you can do that. Just make sure you're ending with a clear call to action, and giving subscribers a very specific step to do. So I know, again, like there's so many places we can take it with automation. I truthfully, I think that David's video that he was talking about earlier is going to help you understand a little bit deeper on how to leverage automation. But just to show you really quickly, like how easy it is and where it lives. If you go to automate and then visual automations, you can go ahead and click new automation. We actually have a ton of pre-built automations that you can leverage inside a kit. And so if you don't like starting from a blank canvas, you can go ahead and say like, let me use this template to welcome subscribers to my newsletter. And then we can just drop in immediately a welcome automation for you. And so you can click into here and then start to understand and build out like, okay, here's how many emails I'm sending out. Here's the number of days I'm waiting in between those emails. We can start to understand what the style of these emails look like, what the branding looks like. And so it's really quick and easy for us to just jump in and start to build that out. Okay, David, we got through We got through building trust. We got through sending email, or sorry, building a list, sending emails to the list. Let's talk about everyone's favorite topic. Let's talk about making money.
Let's start making some money. Yeah.
Start making some money
I
here.
love it. And this has been so, so good. I'm like so thankful for everything you've discussed because these are such core steps. And what's really cool too is once you establish those core steps that you've already put on the table right here, it's like they're set. You could add more, you could build more, you could develop them further. But those core steps are just so, so powerful. Once you get them established, they are there running in the background for you, which I personally love.
Yeah. That, and totally, like the automation being just set it and forget it, and like it just works for your business after that. It's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. Let's talk about let's talk about your products. And so there's a lot of different ways to monetize as a creator. The most common ways that I see is to package your knowledge and turn it into some kind of asset. It's honestly very similar to what I was saying in lead magnets, right? Like you can package your learnings into a mini course, into a workshop, into a guide. That same type of principle is applicable when you're talking about digital products. You can package your learnings and dish that out via a paid newsletter. You could dish that out via a masterclass that you teach on demand via a course, or maybe in a workshop style. I have an example here of like a monthly cookbook that one of our creators have created. And so there's so many different ways that you could leverage that and create that. Let me show you all really quick. Just like the piece that you need to be able to do here is similar to the landing page. To dish out some of these paid products, we need to have some kind of vessel, some kind of place where people can see on a sales page what the product is that they're going to purchase, process that payment, take them down that process. And so that's what Kit makes it incredibly easy to do. If you go over to earn and then products, you can very easily create a new product here and say like we're selling like one-on-one coaching call. We can say like, is this a product that we're paying for once, or has a reoccurring revenue subscription here? In this case, it's going to be paying once. I'll say that it costs like $100, for example. How are we going to fulfill this product? Again, if you're a paid newsletter, we have an option for that. If you're giving out some kind of downloadable, like a guide or a podcast episode, you can do that. In this case, like I'm probably facilitating this one-on-one coaching call in person or over Zoom. So I'm gonna send you an email probably with the Zoom link after you pay for this. I'm gonna say something else, and then you host this on some kind of web page. We can actually give you a domain itself at Kit here, or if you have a domain, you could bring it in. But then from there, it's just like the landing page. Super easy for us to customize, to replace the imagery that we have here, to add in different elements in how we're marketing it on the sales page. And we can do that same level of personalization across the checkout page, confirmation, receipt email, and then use this as a way inside of automation to say, hey, when they buy this product, here's the content that we want to give them. Here's the emails that we should send them. So really, really powerful and easy way for you to start monetizing and building some money there. Okay, so we have paid products. That's a huge column. One thing I'll just say, like, let me just showcase this. If there's anybody who's not leveraging paid products, I do kind of want to like go through these examples. I was debating, but I do kind of want to showcase this. If there's anybody who's not leveraging paid products and hasn't built in like education into packaging that into like these digital resources, let me just show you. There's a couple creators that I showed you just earlier here. One of them particularly, like, let me show you with, hold on, where are we here? With the cookbook here, like, there's a lot of creators that I like to say are running. If you only have one revenue source for your creator business, and if your primary revenue source is through brand deals, I see that so often from like creators who are just leveraging through brand deals and they only have one source of revenue, then you don't have a creator business. You have a business that is really heavily reliant on a source that can be taken away from you at any time. And so I think that to have a creator business, you need to have multiple revenue streams and control your revenue in your own hands. And I think that that is really prime and shown here with the monthly cookbook example here, where you have like 98% of the revenue is coming from cookbook sales. And that is something that you have direct control over because you're selling direct to your audience rather than affiliate marketing having control here. The other lesson that I'd love to impart with this is a lesson with Danielle McCleary here with her masterclass. She has a list of only 300 subscribers, and she was able to make $11,000 off of that singular list. And so again, if you have the right ideal customer profile, if you're attracting the right grouping of people, saying who you are for and who you're not for in your welcome sequences, creating lead magnets they're really enticing the specific people that you want to be getting onto your list, then there's no such thing as a large or small email list. There's just how tailored can we get of an email list. That's what matters more. And then you'll find a really ironclad group of folks that want to buy your services and want to buy your products. Just a couple lessons that I can tell you there. Okay, let's talk about another form of monetization. So we talked about paid products. I also want to highlight something called paid recommendations. Paid recommendations. This is probably my favorite feature inside of Kit. I'm not gonna lie. This right here is my singular favorite thing inside of Kit. This is an entire marketplace inside of Kit, just like free recommendations, where we can partner with others, we can grow together. This is an entire marketplace where we have a bunch of creators. You can browse those recommendations, select a creator, and then you can get paid for every subscriber that you drive over to this person. It works the same exact way in free recommendations, where you have this list of people that say, hey, if you love me, here's who you're going to love too. It works the same way where you're telling your audience, hey, here's some creators that you're going to love. But those creators have created a budget where they say, hey, I will actually pay you $2, $3, $4, $5 per subscriber that you drive over to me. And every subscriber that you send them, as long as they're qualified subscribers, we could talk about what that means in a second, but every subscriber you drive to them, they will pay you out as a creator. And so this is really cool. Just like an example here with Cole, he was in 7 months, he made an extra 10K. And again, this is just like free recommendations. This is passively being put into the content that you're already making. So by what I define passive as, is that you are still doing your same business operations. You are creating your weekly newsletter, you are creating your content, you are doing all the things that you were doing. I haven't added a single task onto your plate, and yet you were still able to monetize and make money off of the actions that you were already doing. That's what paid recommendations allows you to do. It allows you to monetize off of content that you're already creating here. And so let me show you all really quickly inside of Kit how this lives. If we go to grow and recommendations, there's actually a toggle here that says paid at the top right. And so that will give you the whole marketplace of people that are in paid recommendations specifically. And so scroll through, find the creators that make the most sense for you. As you click in, you'll be able to see like what the payout is per subscriber of you driving them over. And then I said it's only qualified subscribers. So every creator will have a definition of what they constitute as an engaged subscriber. Like this creator right here says, referrals should have one link click during the screening period. And 11 emails are sent during the welcome sequence. Any link clicks in these email sequences are sufficient. So in the first 11 emails, if a creator clicks on one of the links, that counts as an engaged subscriber for them, right? Somebody else might say like, hey, we need to have at least one of the first 5 emails opened, and that will count as an engaged subscriber for me. Just making sure you're not sending like bots or fake subscribers or something like that over them. But yeah, I really believe in like the power of multiple revenue streams. And I think paid recommendations is a really tangible, easy way to just click a button and say, hey, here are some people that are genuinely going to provide value to my audience. Subscriptions, newsletter subscriptions, and creators that are going to have advice and content that my audience will value. And in addition to that, for recommending this person, I'm also going to make revenue and money. It's really cool.
I
But
love it. That's so
yeah, I was
good.
gonna say, like, have you like just as far as like paid recommendations and like engaging with something like this, have you seen something like this in the creators that you've worked with?
The creator network, and this is actually like I don't know it that well. I understand kind of some basics. This paid side of it, I did not understand fully, and this is kind of like I could talk a lot about this, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I just absolutely love this because it gets you in front of people. It also gets you. It's like building a lot of. It's in a way of building a lot of trust. Like if Shiv, you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna be traveling to a certain area," and I was like, "Oh, I know some people there." Just based on that recommendation, there's so much trust built in the relationship. And man, that's so good. Even the way you're talking about multiple income streams, the way I think about that alongside it is you are already going to be doing this. You're sending emails, you're running your business, you're growing, you're putting content out there, you're getting in front of more people, they're signing up for your newsletter, they're getting the welcome sequence. You're already doing all of that.
Yeah,
Now built into that, you have a way, you're stacking another way to make money. It's kind of the sawdust principle, if you've ever heard that analogy of like a
yeah,
sawmill that's cutting a bunch of wood. Well, they produce a lot of sawdust which they could just toss, but there are businesses that need sawdust. And
yeah,
so now you could sell that sawdust as well, which is just a byproduct of your core business, which is being a mill. And
yeah.
so this to me is like hands down. I'm like, as soon as this ends, I want to go make sure I build out all the core functions for my creator network profile and business and really creating that out on my end.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good analogy there, the sawdust principle here. And on the converse end of that, this is where I'll say again, remember, it's cyclical. This entire
Mm,
process was leading to a place where we can tail back to the top. And so when we are talking about more subscribers equals more trust. More trust equals more money. Well, then more money gives us the ability to spend to grow faster. Again,
mm,
we could become the people that say, I will pay $1, $2, $3 per subscriber in the marketplace. Why would we do that? Because that will only lead to more net new subscribers, more trust, more money to go ahead and reinvest in more subscribers. I cannot tell you, David, how many creators that I've seen grow an incredible business by following this system. People
wow.
who, they will start with maybe in the hundreds of subscribers, thousands of subscribers, and I've seen creators grow to hundreds of thousands, six-figure, seven-figure subscriber counts, and just
Wow.
making more and more money, growing more and more subscribers, because each turn of this flywheel again produce more results. Each turn of this flywheel makes it easier and easier for it to happen. Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome. I love it.
I hope this lesson helped. I hope the system like makes sense to everybody and works out. I do have a couple fun things for everybody. Just I promised some next steps here. And so one thing that we have here, David, you can comment on this, but just probably in the link in bio, I'm assuming. In the description. But
Yep.
if you click there, we partner with David specifically to give you all a free month of Kit. I really feel strongly, and I've seen this time and time again, that with the monetization tools of Kit, especially alongside the growth tools, the email growth tools, if you follow this system and grow your email list through partnerships, you grow your email list through thoughtful lead magnets, you build trust through those welcome sequences, and then you leverage these monetization tools, especially like paid recommendations through your content. I feel strongly that you'll probably be able to make up the monthly cost of your Kit account and more. But just to help you get started on the right foot, your first month is going to be free on us if you use the link that we partner with David on. And then in addition to that, we have two awesome resources. Number one, I mentioned a couple names at the top. We work with some of the top creators in the business. We work with some of the biggest, largest creators that you can imagine. And so we have an entire team of people that works with some of those creators. And of course, we teach them a lot about being a creator. They teach us a lot about their business models as well. And so we went through and talked through them with some of their top list growth strategies. And we've compiled those list growth strategies into this document. And so these are the top 10 professional list growth strategies that work. And then last but not least, I know automation can feel a little bit overwhelming, and it can be like, oh my God, a blank canvas. Where do I start? So we have all those templates that I showed you before, but we're going to give you 5 templates as well that we know every creator business needs. You're just going to simply click a button and it'll instantly get dropped into your account. These are 5 automations every single creator business needs. We're talking about things like engagement sequences, right? Like understanding when's the last time somebody opened up an email, and based on that, would we categorize them as engaged, disengaged, or inactive? And then based on where they are, if they're engaged, disengaged, and active, what email should they get next? Should they get off your list? I think the welcome sequence is also one that we have in here as something that you can just click on, it instantly gets into your account. So we have a lot of good stuff for you. So I hope you guys do join us here, because I love creators. We love creators here at Kit. We would love for you to be part of our community. And I really feel strongly that if you are somebody who means business and wants to create content and make a business around that, that Kit is the place for you. Kit is the community for you. And so again, go ahead and jump in that link below, and you'll get your first month off free.
Shiv, I am so grateful. The what we just went through truly was a masterclass. I learned a lot in this. I'm using a lot of the tactics and strategies that you discuss with my own business and with my clients. And I will say this as well, that first link down below will be the link that Shiv was just talking about, the free month. That'll be the first link down below in the description. And then below that will be my starter kit that you can access as well. Thank you so much again, Shiv. This has been amazing.
Dude, David, I appreciate you being here and inviting me here. And look, this was a blast. So anytime that you want to do it again, you let me know and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.